Hey friends, my name is Jake. Welcome to Canadian Cutting Edge, and I'm recording this on, the Thursday before Christmas. You probably won't see this until after Christmas. Hopefully I'll post it between Christmas and New Year. And we've got an unboxing. Now, of course, I don't have the original shipping box for this, and that's because I'm a Canadian and I buy most of my knives in the United States. And I know a lot of Canadians can't do this, but what I do is I've got family, I've got friends in the United States, and I send the knives to them, and they end up shipping them to me, and usually they get across the border to me. Of course, not always, but usually they do. And it just works a little bit better than having them shipped directly from a store. CBSA, I don't know, I guess they tend to be a little pickier when it comes from a store. I had like 15 knives sent to me, in one big batch. And these four are the last four of the batch that I've got. I think this is the last unboxing for 2022. We've got something from Ganzo, we've got Sencut, we've got Kizer, and we've got Civivi. So if you're interested in these are all going to be folding knives. Axis lock for sure from the Ganzo. I think the rest are liner locks. So sorry, Thomas from Germany. There's nothing that is two-hand opening and locking. Sorry. Hopefully in the new year, I've got more knives that you're going to be interested in, or at least able to buy. You might be interested in these, but able to carry, I should say. So, I know, there's way more than just Thomas watching this. So, to the rest of you, hey, how's it going? Let's get to the tabletop and check these out. Let's begin with Ganzo FB knife. This is the model FB7601BK, so black. This knife, I should double check. I think I reviewed this already years ago. I think I wanted to buy this to do one of my review videos where I take a second look at a knife that I reviewed years ago. But actually, I think I've not reviewed this. The text on the screen will tell you exactly if I have or not. We've got an axis lock knife. We've got 440C stainless steel, which is way too underrated these days. Yeah, it's been around for a long time, about 80 years, give or take a bit. It's been around for a long time. It's a good stainless steel, and I'm quite happy with it. Now, the pocket clip is right side only. There's no option for it on the other side there. And we've got an axis lock and thumb studs. So there you go. We've got a little bit thick behind the grind, but we've got a drop point with a swedge. And yeah, I scratched it. I scratched this blade right along there when I was wiping it with a microfiber cloth that I had some grit on it. Now this one's dirty. It's got to go to the laundry, but I wiped it across, like this. I'm very gentle right now, and I scratched it a little bit. So that scratch, if you can see it, did not come from the factory. That's on me. Got a thumb riser, a little bit of jimping even on the spine of the blade, back spacer with big blocky jimping on it. And since I had to put this back together again, like when I have the knife shipped to me, I have the handle shipped to me in one package, I have the blade shipped to me in another package. I've done something wrong to put this together, and somehow, it's really strong right there. So it's catching, but it's a low-cost knife. At White Mountain Knives, $24.99, take off 10%. Of course, at White Mountain Knives, you can always save 10% with coupon code CCE. So that's the information for White Mountain Knives. With the discount, $22.49 for this knife. Amazon's got it for just a tiny bit less, but Power Cutlery is where you're going to save the most amount of money. PowerCutlery.com, it's a store in California. You can save 6% there with coupon code CCE, and that brings this to $20.21. So, yeah, that's not a bad price, I don't think, for this knife. And, I would have liked if they would have made it fully ambidextrous. Since it's an axis lock knife, you get thumb studs on each side. Why not supply a second pocket clip, mounting the same way? It mounts on the inside underneath the G10 there. But only 10% of us are lefties. I grew up left-handed. So I guess they just don't care about the 10% quite that much, do they? And that's true of pretty much every brand. Let's just put that up there for a little while we take a look at the next knife. The Kizer Converse Azo design V3595C1. Yeah, 154 cm. This thing is $39.60 with the discount, if they still have some left. When I checked the price, it was like a week ago when I checked the price and checked the stock, and then they still had some left. And you get a microfiber cloth in here, and some other information. There's the microfiber cloth. I'll just leave that together for now. Now the Converse, they're not all this price. It's only this jade one, and I wanted the jade anyways, because I don't know, I've just been doing more and more dyeing lately. We've got, again, a right side only pocket clip, but we've got a liner lock with a front flipper. And we've got holes in here. There's also a trench milled in between the holes for more texture. We've got a lanyard hole back there. Yeah, they are T6 screws. It's just, that's what you get. This is also T6 screws back here, so you got to be careful with that stuff. Like I always recommend, get some of this, and it's anti-cam out fluid. You put it inside between the screwdriver and the screw head, so put it on either way. And it gives you grip, helps fasteners from stripping, helps prevent fasteners from stripping. So there you go. This guy, $39.60 after your 10% discount, but only this version of the Converse. So that's a great price for 154 cm, if you ask me. We've got, this slight, I call it a K-tip right here. We've got a thin edge, very thin edge, 154 cm. Yeah, it's a coated blade, so if you don't like coated, yeah, there you go. You don't like coated. But I like small knives. And since this is not really a stabbing style knife, it doesn't really have a guard. The jimping here does help a little bit for extra grip. And alignment, very good. And lockup, very good. Yeah, show you, I can flip it open. It's just, it was a little bit awkward because I was concentrating on what I was going to say. Yeah, like I said, T6 screws, but there you go. This is a cool little knife. This is the Sencut Brazoria SA12. This is B. Again, we've got natural G10. This is what they call silver bead blasted, which means it's a bead blasted D2. Now, I'm not that fond of D2 being bead blasted. Now, I'm thinking with this knife, I might do something that I haven't done in a long time. I've got a nice case, got a nice microfiber cloth, and zipper. I'm very fond of this. But this D2 steel, I'm going to dye the G10, but black. There's even a lanyard pin back there, right and left pocket clip, flipper. Look at that. It's actually a slightly bit rounded, a fuller. I'm thinking of doing some bluing, some cold bluing on this. Now, my most watched video that I ever made, and I made it 6.5 years ago. My most watched video is about cold bluing steel. And I get the most comments on it. And so maybe it's time for me to do another one of those. And I'm thinking about bluing this one. What bluing does is it protects the steel. It also makes it look different, but it basically protects the steel, helps keep it from corroding, gives it a patina, if you will. So we'll see if I do that or not. Of course, it would be after I've recorded the review. Now, this is still a little bit dirty because my friend Dave, who takes the knives apart before sending them to me, uses the drive grip on every screw. And if I'm not patient enough to clean it all off before I do the unboxing, then it shows up. It just leaves a little bit of residue in the screws. Now, that can be cleaned up using a toothbrush. I tend to keep one around and just sort of sweep all that stuff off. Yeah, I'll clean that off later on a little bit better. Lockup, really nice. I just think with the black liners, a darker blade will look better. But there you go. And, I think this will be purple. Maybe blue, probably purple. Maybe red. Who knows? But yeah, it's smooth. Alignment is really nice. The action's really nice if you don't hit the table. Good detent on this thing. Ball bearings. One thing I don't like about it it's got that open front up here. I don't like it. See, we've got the captured stop pins on the blade. You can actually see the stop pin right there. And so the stop pin is exposed here, which means you've got an open front. I don't really like open fronts. Maybe it's just, maybe it's not real that junk gets into the ball bearings more easily, but I feel like junk gets into the ball bearings more easily when it's open at the front like that. So of course you can't see that it's open fronted when you see the pictures on the websites. And that's one of the big benefits of reviews, is when people show you that kind of stuff. But I'll certainly show it again on the review, but on the unboxing, there you go. So this is the Brazoria. Of course, it comes different ways. $43.20 at White Mountain Knives. That's American dollars. Yes, T8 screws. T6 on the pocket clip, but T8 screws. Very, very nice. I'm happy with this. We've got a knife from Civivi, and if my mic's picking it up, Bandit's snoring already. This is the CETOS, or CETOS. I'm not quite sure what the right pronunciation is. C21025B4. This is the Kui Bortia wood, which is basically babinga. Here in North America, we like to call it babinga. 14C28N. That's been bead blasted. So of course, Civivi being, the company that birthed Sencut, they've got nice sheaths as well, or pouches, I should say. But you get stickers, you get nice microfiber cloth, but the pouch is basically the same as a Sencut pouch. Now here, let's put them next to each other. So there you go. They just have different badging on them. And of course, Civivi used to be the budget brand of WE knives. So there's WE knife, they made a budget brand Civivi, and then they made an even more budget brand called Sencut. So we've got this wood, we've got this gray finish on the steel. I think it's stainless steel. Pocket clip is right side only. Frame lock, and we've got a flipper, or you can use that fuller to open the knife. Let me see if I hold it just right. There you go. So, it's easy enough to flick it out using that fuller. Pretty much it's only right-handed. If you try to do this with your left hand, let me close that up. I was pushed on there. You can use the flipper in the left hand. As long as you don't put your finger or thumb on the lock bar, you can do it that way. But you can't really flick underneath because you tend to put your thumb across there when you want to do that. And pushing down on the detent, locks the blade in place. And then, well, not locks, but it holds the blade in place, so it's harder to do that. Softened edges everywhere. And of course, we've got that nice wood finish. It's not totally smooth. Like, they didn't sand it quite as well as they could have. I will be sanding this smoother than it is right now and putting on a nice finish after I've reviewed it. And because, yeah, it's pretty nice. Pretty nice indeed. Wood is much harder to machine than steel is, or G10 or micarta or whatever. But look at that tip. That's like a weapon. That's like a trench knife tip, isn't it? We've got a swedge that goes a little over half of the way. It's not a sharpened swedge. We've got that short fuller back here, jimping that comes far enough. I appreciate it when jimping comes further. Usually, it's not quite as far out as that, and this is really good. You can reach forward. It's not really a forward choil, but you can put the tip of your finger there if you need to. Or if you want to do delicate stuff, you can do, a grip more like this. That's a little bit of a guard with the jimping there. It does help if you need to puncture into things. Decent. I don't do an awful lot of frame lock knives because I don't prefer frame locks that awful much. But I chose to get one of these to show you, partly because I like the wood, partly because it's a good price. It's under that $60 range that I've been trying to keep to for 2022. It sells for $63.75, but remember, you get your 10% off at White Mountain Knives. That makes us $57.38 American. So at $57.38, I figured I wanted to show this to you. Again, T8 screws that Sencut does. We don't have T8s over here on the pocket clip. Those are T6, but they're fairly deep. For flush screws, they're fairly deep. Lanyard pin back here. And of course, we've got ball bearings and The detent's not quite strong enough on this guy. But there you go. So we've got the CETOS. We've got, where is it? The Brazoria. We've got the Converse. And we've got the 760, the FB760 or 7601 to look at today. That's what we got. Huge shout out to my supporters. Thank you so much for helping me out every single month with a little bit of support. It really does help an awful lot. I appreciate it. I hope you have an awesome 2023. May 2023 bring you the joy that you would like to have had in 2022 and then some. And remember, friends, always cut towards your chum, not your thumb.